No, we're here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of One Please, now in video form. Believe it or not, a podcast where we talk about movies, now in video. Thank you, Graham. Today we're going to talk about some new releases. I'm excited to talk about, so I'm just going to dive right into it, and hopefully this video thing works out. A couple movies, a couple sequels, and one divisive, if I had to guess, A24 film. So let's start by talking about Ready or Not 2. Now, Ready or Not 2 has been out for a few weeks. I just caught it this past weekend, but just had some time to kill. Figured why not pick it up. I watched Ready or Not 1 on streaming earlier this week, and I was like, you know what? Why not? So Ready or Not 2 comes to us from Matt Bettinelli, Open, and Tyler Gillette, I assume of the Gillette razor fortune. Both of them, which brought us Ready or Not 1, which I know is kind of, I don't know, cult might be too heavy of a term to use at this point, but definitely like has a little bit of a cult following. I know a lot of people enjoyed the first movie. So I did some research on Matt and Tyler. Turns out this is the duo that brought us not only segments of the original VHS film, but the Scream reboots. So Scream 4, I believe, as well as Scream 6, the horror movie Abigail from 2024, and Ready or Not 2. So here's a synopsis of Ready or Not 2 for those uninitiated. After surviving one deadly game, Grace and her sister Faith must now outrun four rival families competing for a powerful throne. Winner takes all. So the story of Ready or Not 2 picks up immediately after the events of Ready or Not 1. So much so that we are even recycling some footage in the introduction. Grace has just escaped the clutches of this devil-worshipping family from the first film and is being carted away in an ambulance. She finds herself locked up in a hospital trying to figure out why and what's going on. She's apparently being arrested for the murder of this family. And we see some kind of behind the scenes stuff of the rest of these families, patriarchs and matriarchs alike, gearing up and getting ready to come, partake in this second round of games. So kind of like a silly take on this movie, and it's a sequel, so everything has to be bigger and better. So in the first movie, it was all just about the initiation of Grace into the family that she was marrying into. In this film, in order to raise the stakes, we've now found that there's some convoluted stuff in here, and I'll admit, either I wasn't following it closely enough, or maybe it was just a little too rote. So the events of the first film essentially free up a seat in a secret, powerful underground organization that the original family was a part of, and whoever claims this seat, hold on to your horses, literally rules the world. Part of some secret society that controls everything. And that's it. We're literal world domination in this movie. Hilarious. We see David Cronenberg, shout out, representing the family that Sarah Michelle Gellar and Sean Hattie, they play siblings. David Cronenberg, the patriarch of that family, finds out that Samara Weaving's character was challenging, lost, therefore the seat freed up, and we're off to the races. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Sean Hattie character suffocate David Cronenberg's character via pillow in his hospital bed where he's controlling the world from, essentially. And then that's it. And then all the families figure out that Samara Weaving's character has to be challenged again, and they beat her, and they're going to take the ring and rule the world. Crazy, absolutely crazy. I don't know how deep into the plot of this movie I'm going to get, but there's not a lot to spoil here. If you've seen the first film, you've essentially seen the second film. They introduce second character, Faith, Grace's estranged sister. And so now they're hunting two people instead of one. Instead of one family, it's multiple families. And instead of, staying alive till dawn for your life, it's whoever wins this game gets to rule the world. Crazy insanity. This must be, this must be the final film in this franchise. However, both of these films have been doing pretty well for themselves. I don't have the numbers up for the first one, but Ready or Not 2 came out, I think, a few weeks ago at this point. Reported budget is 14 million, and box office as of today, 31 million. So they seem to be doing pretty well for themselves. I have a feeling too, like the first one. And you know what? The first one I think came out in 2019. I don't even know if it had a theatrical release. It might have been straight to SVOD, and that might have been due to COVID. I don't remember. But it seems that the first Ready or Not film, I feel like everybody caught on Hulu or some shit. And it's just a solid like 100 minutes, kind of turn your brain off, have a good time, have some laughs, watch some people die, a little bit of action, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of horror, totally fine. This one is more of that. So if you're looking for anything else, you're not going to find it here. It's kind of neither here nor there. Elijah Wood's in this movie too. I always like looking at his face. So I don't really have much else to say about this movie. It's a solid, just fine movie. If I had to, I don't know, make any kind of claim towards it, it would probably be at this point just wait for it to come to streaming, like I'm sure most of you did the first one. So, but yeah. Is there anything else fun on here? Written by Guy Busick. Yeah, dude. So Guy Busick and Matt Bettinelli Olpen, and who's the last guy? Tyler Gillette. How could I forget? He looks like he could use a Gillette razor. Apparently these three and probably more cohort of individuals have just been, all three of them are involved in every single film that they've all been a part of, dating back 10 years at this point. So a clear kind of directing duo and their writer. Again, the kind of like Scream legacy sequel franchise films that are coming out, that Abigail film, and the Ready or Not films, and a couple other things parsed here and there, but that's pretty much it. So look at that filmography, understand what you're getting into. Don't expect anything absolutely unbelievable here, but it's a totally fine movie. Worth streaming, I'd say. This is opening weekend for A24's The Drama, directed by Christopher Borgli, also written by Christopher Borgli, and produced by other A24 veterans like Ari Aster. So the synopsis to The Drama is: a happily engaged couple is put to the test when an unexpected turn sends their wedding week off the rails. That's pretty much all you get from the trailer as well, which I absolutely adored. I'm so thankful that this movie didn't spoil quite possibly one of the most effective, I guess I'll say, plot twist, subversion, period, like in quite a while. And it could be because of the subject matter, but this movie had me feeling some sort of way for sure. I was anxious. I was sad. I was laughing. The entire crowd opening night was cracking up. This movie was extremely funny, and it feels kind of bad to say that, but it's essentially a rom-com or a rom-dram, if you will, one of the two of those things, with some real dark subject matter. I don't even know if I want to spoil it, because this is one of the, we're in April at this point, and a third of the year through 2026, and this is still one of the best films of 2026, bar none. Christopher Borgli, I'm not too familiar with. I know he is a Norwegian filmmaker and released a couple other films, Dream Scenario, which I think was also an A24 film. It's really interesting for a non-American filmmaker, I'll say, to make this film and have the perspective that he does in the writing and the story that kind of unfolds here. I'll put it like this: the issue at hand, or the important piece of information that is kind of pivotal to the way this story unfolds, is a relatively uniquely American topic. I'll put it that way. And for someone who is a non-American to kind of have that outsider perspective on things, and not to mention Robert Pattinson's character, one half of the duo here, who is un-American in the film as well, just plays his regular charming British self. He has some kind of misunderstanding of what's going on with Zendaya's character and what information she had revealed to them. And it gets very deep and very sad at some points. So this movie blew me away after I came out of the theater opening night. So I would stress anyone, and I feel it's easy to recommend to some people. A24 is kind of like the pop, like the pop indie production company, for the last, I don't even know how long, it feels like 10 years, maybe longer. If you're familiar with any other films that A24 has ever put out, you'll probably enjoy this one. just expertly crafted filmmaking with an interesting plot and good performances. Like, what else could you ask for? The drama, fantastic. Absolutely go see this movie as soon as you can. And please, for the love of God, ignore all potential spoilers that you could potentially encounter before seeing it. Is there anything else going? I mean, in terms of box office, A24 films, not quite as pop culture-y, I guess, as other films, but seems to be doing well for itself. A reported budget of 28 million, currently box office of 28 million, and it's only Sunday. The movie opened on Thursday, so I think they're doing pretty well for themselves. I don't really know anybody else who's attached to this film either, with the exception of Daniel Pemberton. And Daniel Pemberton, if you're unfamiliar, is just a goat, just an absolute goat of composing and songwriting and everything. I mean, he is just a master. Just to rattle off some of the filmmakers he's worked with in the last 20 years, you've got Ridley Scott, Guy Ritchie, Danny Boyle, Aaron Sorkin. I mean, the list goes on and on. Ed Norton, David O. Russell. There you go. And here in 2023 and on, Michael Mann in Ferrari, Celine Song, Materialists, Ari Aster, Eddington, Lord and Miller, Project Hail Mary, obviously the drama, and upcoming score for Masters of the Universe and the new Spider-Verse movie. So this guy's crushing it. Daniel Pemberton, keep going. All right, let's move on to the last movie, sequel number 2. We're going to talk about the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Hooray. Damn. We knew this movie was getting made, and we know it's going to be successful. There's no way it's not going to be. Just humor me 1 second. Again, reported budget of 110 million, box office 373 million. Movie's been out for 5 days. So I'm a fan of Nintendo. Born in the early 90s, grew up on Nintendo and the Mario property. Of course, I saw the first movie when it came out and was excited, had a good time, seeing all these beloved characters in a new, interesting story in a beautiful animation style. I mean, the movie first and this one look phenomenal. I feel like the first movie was a bit of like maybe a cornerstone in animation, in video game adaptations, and obviously it made a boatload of money. We knew we were going to get another film shortly, and we did. And here we are with the Super Mario Galaxy movie performing exactly how we thought it would, and will probably continue to perform exactly how we think it's going to go. This movie was quite upsetting. And I guess the first thing I want to talk about is the discourse that I'm constantly seeing online about how this is a children's movie. It doesn't need to be good, or it doesn't need to be a masterpiece. It doesn't need to be good. Like, how can someone say that? There are hundreds of child-forward films, cartoons, games, whatever, that are legitimately good and entertaining pieces of media. I guess I don't understand that perspective of it's a film for children and therefore it doesn't need to be good. But that's exactly how I feel about the filmmakers' idea behind this, or vision behind it. It to me feels like you've done it. You've done the thing with the first movie, and you tease a sequel, and it's Illumination, it's Nintendo, it's Mario, it's all of these beloved household names at this point. The butts in the seats is not an issue. It's going to happen no matter what, especially when so much of the core audience is children. Parents are going to take their children to go see things. That's just how it is. And the first movie was still a fine movie. It was still I will just say, a good movie. This movie feels bad, and it is bad. It almost treats a viewer as if they have no attention span, and if that is the case, gearing towards a younger audience, faster cuts, less cohesive storytelling, nothing but just sound effects and visual effects just bombarding your face and ears for whatever, an hour and a half straight. This movie, it felt like there was only an hour of movie in there, and it was really upsetting to see that, because we were essentially being told there were 2 stories happening, converging at, I guess, the beginning of Act 3. And only one of those stories the entire time was progressing the story. And the other story was almost just exclusively there for Nintendo fan service. And that felt really bad. Even as a a 33-year-old with all the disposable income I need to go spend money on a Nintendo fan service piece of media, I was just very let down by that, It's so much so that it's just, I mean, it felt so bad. Too many sound effects and just ridiculous callbacks. And it's like, these aren't falling on deaf ears either. Like it's not a treat to be experiencing that stuff when you want to be a good movie, because it's just like, it feels too forced, And for the people that aren't fans of the series or never played the games growing up or whatever, it's probably going right over their heads. So who is it for, I'm sure children are going to love the movie because they don't have that barometer. Like that's just how that is going to be. And parents are going to take them to go see it because children are going to go, and parents are going to take them. I mean, like, you go to the movies with your kid. That's fine. I find myself in what I feel like is a very strange middle ground as a not parent and as someone who's not a child, but is someone who grew up with it. I would say that there was one significant piece of information in this movie that I would have loved to have experienced, unfortunately was spoiled for me before I went to go see the movie Wednesday on opening night. But even that doesn't save the movie. One little surprise a good movie does not make. But still, it feels like we're on the fast track. It feels like we're on the fast track to, I mean, for lack of a better term, we'll just say Nintendo Avengers or Super Smash Brothers or whatever the hell you want to call it. But this feels exactly like early DCEU on the coattails of the MCU, trying to play catch up, essentially, because trying to play catch up and just absolutely blowing it all way too fast, way too soon, and to the detriment. It's upsetting because you want to see it in theaters because it's kind of a big event. But it's really not worth going for. Again, I'll say the animation is fantastic and it looks beautiful, but you can appreciate that at home. It just feel so the crazy thing that I'm trying to articulate here is that when people were experiencing the DCEU movies, they were trying to catch up to the MCU. It felt like, we wanted the Justice League movie, we wanted all of these beloved DC characters to come together, and we're going to get our Avengers, and this $1 billion movie. And Nintendo and Illumination and all the filmmakers behind this are not competing against any other video game adaptation movie series, as far as I'm concerned. But for some reason, this movie felt so rushed. It got put out there, and half of the movie is just Nintendo fan service, and it felt bad. It could have been good, but was bad. To quote my favorite Letterboxd user, Blue God, could have been good, but was very bad. Disappointing, man. So upsetting. Gives the viewer absolutely no credit. Feels like is actually geared. In Elf, in Elf, when Mr. Greenway goes to talk to Walter Hobbs and James Caan is like, send the book out. I don't care if it doesn't have the final pages. And then Mr. Greenway comes in and he's like, what the fuck is this? And like, your signature is on this blank page. What the fuck happened? The entire ending of your Puppy and Pigeon book is gone. There's no ending to it. This is what this feels like. It feels like they were just like, fuck it, whatever, put it out. I don't care. It's been whatever. When did the first one come out? 23? I don't know. It's been 2 or 3 years. Like, just put it out. I'm like, I just don't understand. I don't understand. There was no rush. There was no rush to put this out. No rush to put this out. And I'm so confused too, because written by the same gentleman, Matthew Fogel, directed by the same duo of Aaron Horvath, Michael Jelenic. I'm just confused. Why is this movie bad? You had all the trappings and everything of the first movie, and the character introductions and everything. It made sense in the first movie, and this one didn't, and it was not good, and it was bad, and I'm upset about it, if I'm being honest. So doesn't matter, because we'll absolutely get a third one. And hopefully, okay, big brain theory here. The second Mario game in America was not the real Super Mario Bros. 2. It was a reskinning of that weird Doki Doki Panic game. So maybe, I don't think that Japan got a different version of Super Mario Galaxy movie. That's wild. And this theory's not, is that we just weren't ready for Super Mario Galaxy 2, the movie. Maybe it was just a reskin version of another Japanese animated movie, and then we'll get the good one on the third one. So anyway, I think there's been enough discourse around the quality of this movie that I guess I'll say optimistic about it. I have faith that the third Mario Illumination Nintendo collaboration will probably be much better than this entry in the series. And if I'm being honest, it's not going to be very difficult to do that. So, okay, I think I got all my thoughts out. You guys can see my sweet background. Build a set for everything. Build a set. I mean, I just reorganized my entire apartment to accommodate. But we'll talk about maybe we'll talk about some of my Criterions and the Criterion releases that came out, and my entire bookshelf of Tolkien stuff. My Laura Palmer poster, or Laura Palmer, and my fake Oscar over there. Getting used to this video thing. It's over there, right there. Okay. Cool. Well, this has been an experiment for sure. Yeah, I guess if this is going to YouTube now and this is a whole thing, I'm gonna ask people's opinions because I am curious. Because the few things I am interested in, I can't really talk about the drama unless you've seen the movie. So you can't, and if you haven't seen the movie, you don't really know what it's about. So I don't feel like your opinion's warranted. But Ready or Not 2, good or bad, you know? If Ready or Not 1 was Ready or Not, and Ready or Not 2 is Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, and it was about ruling the world, could they possibly have a third entry in this franchise? I don't know. Now You See Me did it. Everyone said, you know, second Now You See Me movie should have been called Now You Don't, but you do Now You Don't, and then you end like the verbiage of that saying, then I feel like you don't open yourself up for the third movie. They did Now You See Me 2, and then Now You See Me 3, Now You Don't, and all of those movies made a bunch of money. So Ready or Not 3, Here Comes Me, I don't know. It's going to have to be who controls the universe. It's going to have to be aliens because they can't get much bigger than secret organization of families ruling the world. And Super Mario Galaxy, good movie, bad movie? Bad movie. But again, people say, do children's movies have to be good? Jury's out. They can be good. See Toy Story, WALL-E, most Disney classics, I'd say. You know, like they don't have to be bad. They don't have to be Walter Hobbs in a world of Mr. Greenways. I don't know. Subscribe to Third Unit Movies YouTube channel, and I'm going to be doing more of these, and they're going to be in video form. And like and comment and do all that fun stuff. Tell me why I'm wrong. I'd love to have the conversation, honestly. I guess that's it.